Hi, I'm Trevor Calabro, your resource for UX research. And I want to talk to you today about sample sizing. So many people have come to me already and asked, Trevor, I'm trying to run a study. How many participants do I need to make sure that we have confidence in the results? So I put together a little guide that's going to help you through that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you go to the UX team Notion page here, you'll find underneath there, I've added a section called UX Research Resources. Within that, there is one resource at this time. It's called the Sample Size Guide, and that's what I'm talking about. So once you get into this guide, you'll see that I've got it broken down into the 5 types of studies that we kind of conduct. Studies that are trying to discover problems or insights, benchmarking studies, comparing designs, A/B tests specifically, and surveys specifically. But before I get into the details of these sample size recommendations, I want to talk to you a little bit about how I came up with these numbers. So if we scroll through, you'll see each one of these has a highlighted orange range. So our recommended range for moderated and unmoderated usability testing is 5 to 8 participants. We also have here for user interviews, diary studies, field studies, contextual inquiries, other types of research in this manner. We have a 9 to 18 participant recommendation. And I want to note under each, what if I can't get the minimum number of participants? This is just a general note. If you can't get the number of participants, that's fine. It just means that these will have less confidence with the results. And in cases where it is percentage-based, you cannot report your findings as percentages. This will just be anecdotal evidence. But we still encourage everyone to do the research if they have some participants. So how did we come up with these recommendations? I like to describe this as an art and a science. What do I mean by that? So the science is clear. It's the math. It's the statistics. And you can't argue with those. Those are in place. If anyone would like to reach out to discuss this with me, I'd be more than happy to talk about why, for instance, on A/B testing, we used a modified chi-square analysis to get these numbers. With that said, that's not what this video is about. This video, I want to focus more on the art, the reasoning behind why our recommendations are here at this level. So there's based on 3 strategic principles, and that's what the art is. It's the strategy behind those things. And the first and the second of these are based on our company values. So one is to be scrappy, do more with less. So there is no need to deploy the rigor of academia, of academic research when it comes to these decisions. We can do more with less, meaning the bare amount of research that we feel confident in to move forward with the next iteration. Err on the side of decisions, test and iterate. This is the same kind of concept. What will help us make the decision quickest? And then the third strategic consideration was, I've done an audit. I've done an audit of all the research findings we have today, and we need some more data to address more broad UX concerns. And this fits right into our recommendation strategy. And then the last thing I want to touch on just real quickly is many people come to me and say, these numbers seem small. When I go to these free online calculators, it usually gives me a much larger kind of sample size for these. So in my experience, these online calculators can be very misleading. So most of the one size, I call them one size fits all, right? Because they're going under these assumptions, and these are very conservative assumptions. What they want is they don't want the liability of giving you too small of a number, right? So number one, they're going to assume that your study is designed to gather binary data, like survey data, right? They're assuming you're a marketer for the most part, like the Survey Monkey one, that's where they're coming from. And those kind of binary surveys require the largest sample size of any of the research methods we do. So if we look at that calculator for all types of research, it's going to be very, very misleading. But your sample size needs to be around in the hundreds of numbers. I mean, that's another assumption they're making, which is just rarely the case with usability studies. This creates too much of a margin of error, too wide. And then they're going to assume that we need a confidence level of standard like political polling, which is plus or minus 4. This does not make sense. It's too restrictive for the real world and in the business, especially with our core values to move quickly and iterate. If you want to know more about this, Right here, I talk about, we use the interactive sample study calculation system designed by Jeff Saros from Measuring You. This system is specifically designed for usability related research done in the real world scenarios. So feel free to reach out. And then I give a list of resources here if you want to understand a little more about that strategy. And lastly, I don't want to get all tinfoil hat on you, but the people that are giving, you have to think about the incentives here. The companies that are creating and giving out free calculators, it's in their best interest to have you test more than you really need, because their business model is usually predicated on the fact that you're going to use their platform to recruit and test participants. So I say, let's be scrappy. Let's do it the Jungle Scout way. That's all I have. I'm going to leave the link to the resource here. Feel free to reach out to me at any time with any questions. I love talking about this stuff, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.